Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I'm here today with Rob Henderson. We're going to talk about Pluribus. Um, it's a new Vince Gilligan show. It has Rhea Seehorn, that woman we know and love from Better Call Saul. Did you ever watch Better Call Saul, or you couldn't get into it,
You
right?
know, I watched like a YouTube recap. I think I watched the first season, maybe season and a half, and I just couldn't get into it. But I know, like there are people who claim that it's even better than Breaking Bad, and maybe like during the lockdown or something, or shortly after the series had ended, I just like watched one of these like YouTube recaps. So I have like a sense of like the arc of the story and what happened to the characters.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't think I'll ever watch the show.
How long is the recap?
It's probably like 30 minutes, something
Mm.
like that. And yeah, there's like pretty good recaps now on YouTube for like series long kind of things. Um, but no, I watched Breaking Bad I think twice all the way through, and yeah, like read Gilligan's interviews. I remember years ago, maybe yeah, I don't know what year it was, but Gilligan talking about how he wanted to make a show with a like a conventional hero and not an anti-hero. And then you and I had read that recent article where he reiterated that point. And yeah, so it's interesting with this show Pluribus. Because she's not really a conventional hero, Carol. But so far, I'm intrigued. Like, this is one of the rare shows where you don't really, at least I have no real sense of where it's going exactly. I couldn't even guess what's going to happen in the next episode. So far, I'm hooked.
Yeah, Pluribus or Pluribus?
Pluribus?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's
I'm not
Pluribus.
a, I didn't go to a private school. I don't know, I don't know how to speak Latin.
At a hard
Uh,
knock life. Yeah. Okay. I
yeah.
think it's Pluribus. I believe so.
Pluribus. Okay.
Uh,
Well, I
uh,
mean, sure. I like the gel in the hair, by the way, or whatever you got going,
Thank you.
Richard.
You know what? I've decided I can actually style my hair. I've
No,
decided
I
I
started getting
finally
fat after I moved to New York, so I'm trying to lose weight. We got to look good for these podcasts.
yes, we gotta experiment. We gotta try new things. Anyways, so this yeah, the show it's yeah. Anyways, I love Better Call Saul. I'm one of those people who might say it's better than Breaking Bad. It's close. They're both very good. Uh, it has Vince Gilligan the his style. This show has things that are recognizable from those previous two shows. He does this thing where he has like people just get really into like their work, they're doing something. So like Walter doing the chemistry. They
Mm,
would talk about it in some technical detail. You have there would be a lot of like lawyer lingo, like a lot of like technical stuff, like going through Discovery and Better Call Saul. The a lot of procedural stuff, and then this one you have like the when they're finding the alien signal from the
mm.
distant galaxy. There's that, and then they kind of they show you the nerds at the thing, and then I think it was what other one was this when they did the hotel when they're in the Norwegian hotel. I looked this up. There are two ice hotels, and so
Oh,
these are based on something that's actually real. And so the guy's like talking
interesting.
about he goes for long. He's like, oh, they changed I don't know how much of this is true, but he's talking about it in the context. Shows like they changed the design. They build it like anew from ice, like every year or something like that. The room is 100, is like negative, 3 degrees. He's talking about like evolutionarily, like why like the cold like invigorates, your body and your skin. So there's a lot of that. There's kind of a lot of like just like people doing stuff and just like making the world interesting. And you're like, it's like how it's like that show. You ever watch that show like how it's made? What's it called? How things
Yeah,
are
I think
made.
I think
They
it's
show
how
how to
it's
make
made. Yeah,
they make
and
like
people
bologna.
like. I've heard this referred to, and I hate when people do this, but I've heard it referred to as competence porn. Like,
I've
yeah,
never heard this.
yeah, like I'm not really a huge fan of just like adding porn after a word now. Like I feel like it's overdone, but I have heard that phrase used where you see, yeah, either people in real life or in fictional stories, just like super efficient, hyper competent. Like there's just something satisfying about like watching people do things that they're good at and executing well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd never really considered that, but I remember like even when I watched Breaking Bad when it was still on the air. yeah, like watching Walt like cook meth, there was something satisfying about him, being an expert at his craft and like making it and teaching Jesse how to do it. um and yeah, with this show, with the scientists in the lab trying to like decode what was happening with this, like what they like refer to it as like RNA or something, and trying to figure out like what this message from this alien life form was trying to send them.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's other ones. Like I think that there's once that Walt tries to do some home repair. He fixes a broiler or something like that. I mean, I remember this being pretty detailed. And
You
there was
remember when
one.
he
It
was
was
like zip tied, and then he like removed like an electrical outlet and like used it like the like to burn the zip ties off of his wrists with electricity from the outlet or something. And I remember feeling like that was also like very satisfying and cool to
yeah,
see him do that.
yeah. There's like that MacGyver kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and then there's like just like normal work stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, there's a little bit of that show, not a lot. So far, you don't watch. So like I don't know. What do you think of what do you think of this Carol woman uh so far? Like what did you think was going to happen like that first episode? She's like a romance writer
Oh
and
yeah, romanticy.
she like hates her audience. She has like contempt for them, right?
Yeah,
And she's a
you would
lesbian.
know nothing about that, Richard.
What, contempt for kids? No, no,
A
I
writer
can't
with
relate at
no,
all.
yeah, with contempt for at least portions of your
Well, my
audience.
audience has gotten better. I don't know. The people I'm trolling now are not my audience. There are other people on Twitter, I think, that are hate follows. Um,
Yeah.
my Substack audience, I don't hate. I mean, they're pretty
Well,
talented.
Twitter, right? But I get that too. Like there are people I post now, like just because I think there's a lot of like X has gotten worse in a lot of ways. So I'm
Mhm.
posting things
Yeah,
just to piss people off.
you watched enough to know the Kim Wexler
Oh
character.
yeah,
I think this is like she's like an extreme version of the original Kim Wexler in this
okay.
show. Like Kim Wexler is like deadpan, kind of cynical,
Mhm.
but Carol is like an extreme version of this. Carol is almost like, what if it turns out she's Kim Wexler? She's still living in New Mexico. Maybe she became a lesbian. Because she
I
takes
looked this up
yeah.
to see whether they existed in the same universe somehow, like the Breaking Bad, like the
They
Gilligan
can't,
verse.
right? Because they're the same
Yeah.
actress.
Yeah, but I mean, you could have this. Like, I think there have been shows where you have the actress, but it's like different characters, whatever. I think it's rare, but I vaguely recall certain movies or shows where this has been done. Um, and no, it's not. It's not in the same universe, but
Maybe, but I mean, people say that. Well, who knows? Maybe she is Kim Wexler and just changed her name, and because she's. I don't guess I don't want to give away Better Call Saul, but it could have happened.
yeah, well, okay, maybe, but like at least the way that I remember the recap, it seems unlikely because like the very end
There's going to be a
of
spoiler here at
Saul.
Better Call Saul. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
there's a
it's over a
spoiler
minute.
here. But like, isn't there something at the end, like a kind of an epilogue or something, where Saul's in prison and then like she comes to visit, and they're like much older, right? So
No,
I feel like
I don't think she's much older. I think she.
well, Saul looks much older. I mean, he's
Well,
like
he's been to
balding,
prison.
and
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't look. I have to remember, but
Well, if he's that old, like she must have aged. I mean, she didn't obviously age as poorly as Saul did, but like Carol seems like what, like 40 ish,
so
whereas
the real life actress
yeah.
is like 53.
Oh,
And
okay.
so Kim Wexler was, I think both her and Bob Odenkirk were supposed to be younger than they were in real life. They were both
Yeah,
supposed to be kind of young lawyers.
because it was
It's
a
a prequel.
prequel, right?
It's a
Yeah.
prequel to Breaking Bad. So maybe she's like supposed to be 30 in Better Call Saul. Maybe she is actually like 50. So I don't know.
Okay.
It would be pretty
A
fun.
big
It would be pretty,
reveal.
it's probably not,
Well,
but there happen to be. She seems like a more. She just. But do you see what I'm saying about like Kim Wexler is like deadpan, kind of serious.
mhm.
Uh, Carol is like that too.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
stern. Like
very like
not like well, at least what I remember. Maybe like if Kim's character evolves, what I remember of her in season one is yeah, she was kind of like serious. Like I think she had concerns about being taken seriously as a female attorney, and wasn't she kind of junior in the firm? And she was like worried about Jimmy like bringing her down or something, or like making her look bad. Um, whereas yeah, like Carol is. I mean, she seems like she's a like misanthrope, right? Like she
yeah.
doesn't really like people in general. she liked her wife, but otherwise, yeah, she didn't seem to have like much patience for people in general. And yeah, there were some interesting things about that, like in the pilot episode where she, I think initially, like she wanted to hide the fact that she was gay, right? Because she thought that like her audience wouldn't like it. How realistic is that? Like on the one hand, I kind of
What did she?
understand it.
What made you? I didn't see that. Well, how did she try to hide it?
When they went into the Uber together, her and her wife, like, didn't they say something about like, oh, like we don't want to like whatever, like because her wife like pretends to be like her assistant or her whatever, like her colleague or something, helping to pass books around, but
We don't know if
she,
they're legally married, do we? We don't know that. They
I
could
thought she
be.
referred to her as her wife
Yeah, maybe.
at one point,
Yeah,
but yeah, or although I guess that would be hard to keep under wrap. Oh, I don't know how hard that would be actually. You can be like secluded as an author,
hmm.
but yeah, like so yeah, how realistic is that though to like think that like yeah, because it's like female audience, they're book readers. Like I just feel like they wouldn't really care if the author was gay. Maybe in some ways they would be even more intrigued by this.
I
Like
don't
in
know.
the
I
year
mean, for
2025,
yeah.
you know, if you're a lesbian
No, but
author writing
she's writing about
romanticy.
romance. She's writing about heterosexual relations, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a kind of weird thing. They want to
So
think
so that's what I'm wondering. Like, is
authors
she
kind of like
worried about like homophobia, or is she worried that her audience will turn
that.
away because they're like, oh, she can't really understand
Yeah.
like the romanticy
They're
genre?
being manipulated. Yeah, they're being manipulated. I think. Yeah, I think it's not supposed to be homophobia. Like that's not seen. I don't get any indication. That's it. In New Mexico, it's Albuquerque. It's a pretty, it's a
Oh
blue
yeah, it's
state.
and then
There's
yeah,
no,
again like publishing is like
yeah,
fiction, and
there's
then
no
like
reason to think.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason to think it would be a big deal. Um,
But then the fact that she's gay is interesting because well first like have there been, and we've talked about this in previous conversations about how a lot of prestige drama there's always at least one gay male character, like even I know you haven't seen Severance, but like
hmm.
Severance there's a gay male character, like a lot of Sopranos had Vito, Mad Men had Sal, and a lot of these shows have a gay male, but you seldom see like a lesbian like lead female actress in or character, I guess, in a prestige drama.
Hmm.
So, what was the purpose, I wonder, of making her gay? Like, will that come later? Like, make it clearer why she had to be a lesbian? Um, what was
So
the creative
I have
choice
some
there?
theories about this, and we're gonna jump around because it's gonna be, I think, one of the things that's kind of interesting about the show. I think that the kind of the way they do the racial um, demographics of kind of so for people who haven't wait a minute, let me see something here. I want to see what is the black guy's name because I want to get that right.
Oh yeah, the Mauritian.
Yeah, the Mauritian, yeah. Um,
Yeah, what
yeah.
is his name?
Oh, yeah, Kumba. His name is Kumba. Okay, anyways. So this is kind of like, okay, so the premise is for people who haven't seen it. By the way, go watch it. It's 3 episodes so far. And that's what we're talking about here. So there's only the aliens come and they take over the brains of like everyone in the world, and a lot of people die, but there's, a handful of people left. And she goes and meets the ones who speak English, and it's kind of funny. I think she's the only white person among them. And
Yeah.
there's like an East Asian man. There is or it's a woman. There's an East Asian man and an East Asian woman.
Hmm.
And then there's an Indian woman,
Yeah, and her
or a South
kid.
Asian woman.
Well, her
And
kid has
then,
been captured, right?
yeah, her
Her
kid's
kid has
been captured.
been,
So the kid is
yeah.
walking around.
He's got the woke
Um,
mind virus.
He's got the Elon Musk. That's Elon Musk's interpretation of it. Yeah, and then who else is? Yeah, there's and a few. Okay, so these two Asians, the three Asians. Oh, and there's a woman from like either Peru or Paraguay. She's like a
Yeah,
Native
but then
American.
isn't there like a guy in Spain or something? Remember, she calls him on the phone, and then
Yeah,
like
no,
he's like
he was in
shouts at her
Central
in
America.
Spanish.
I
Central
think he was in
America.
yeah, he was in Paraguay, I
Oh,
think. And I
Paraguay.
think the
Okay.
woman, yeah, he was in Paraguay. The woman might have been Peru. But anyways, they're all Latin Americans. And then but like all those people are very subservient. They're like happy. They're like, "Oh, now we're taken care of. Everyone is happy. This is my son. We still get our families. Oh, everything's great." Right? So these people are subservient, Asians and Latin Americans, Native Americans. The
Yeah,
white woman is saying, we have to think for ourselves and we have to maintain our individuality and we have to do something. And then I just love this. Like, there's one more. He wants, he wanted a different kind of plane. And when I heard that, I knew it was going to be Air Force One. Like, I knew that. I said this is going to be funny. And
Are we
then the
talking
guy
about
gets,
Kumba or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay?
And then he gets off the plane, and he's a black guy from Mauritania, which is just perfect. Mauritania is this, so it's like, what would you do if, if everyone was like a drone? A lot of men would just have sex with, as many women as possible, and like bring Air Force One so you could travel around and just become like, you're a kid in a
Jeffrey
candy
Epstein.
store. Yeah, and so this guy is from Mauritania. Mauritania is like a part Arab, part black country in like North Africa.
Mhm.
It has a history of French colonization, so some of the government business is done in French. So that's why he speaks French. And so it's like these three like kind of sexist cultures like France, Arabs, and Black Africans. And it's like Mauritania is just kind of like the perfect place for like this lecherous kind of like, dog who just wants to use women as sex objects. It's amazing. Like they did this. It's amazing that they did this. Mauritania, it's a country that no one's heard of. And he has them
Mhm.
speaking French. I mean, it was some knowledge of like race, like some careful thought went into this to make this guy specifically Mauritanian speaking French. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that is yeah, I wasn't aware of that history of the country. Like I'd heard of it, but yeah, you're right. And then, yeah, I think like the French um part of the culture, like it adds like a little bit of sophistication to the character too, right? Like
Well,
he's
it's like
like
a
well
thing. It's like a
dressed.
thing. It's like a guy. It's like a rapper trying to be like sophisticated, right?
Yeah, but if I think it works with the fact that he speaks French. He attempts to be dapper and like charming, and yeah, he is like there is something like disarming about him. Where I want like if you made that character, if he was just French, it would probably still work. But yeah, I want like if it was just a white guy, I think it would code as more predatory, just this guy like Air Force One, like banging supermodels, like having women, like at his beck and call.
Yeah.
Um, and and if he were just like a black American guy, I think it would like maybe raise, accusations of racism or stereotyping or something. But the fact that he's like foreign and black and from this obscure country, and he's a little bit French, like it kind of takes the edge off of those types of accusations.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it is interesting. So that Carol, as the only white woman, she's American and she's a lesbian, and so that it makes it believable that she would be the like assertive, like individualistic, like wanting to solve this problem rather than just gently go along with it. And she has that kind of antagonism in her already, like that misanthropic, antagonistic, disagreeable personality style. And so she's not going to go along with it. Like I wondered, like it just feels generally like because I've seen critics like try to draw these parallels to, is this a commentary on the COVID lockdowns? Is this a commentary on I think it's like maybe a little bit of everything,
Mhm.
but like there was this period where like during the lockdowns, for example, there were a lot of people who were happy about it. Like they were like, oh, like we can just kind of be left alone, do our own thing, like it's kind of nice to like shut things down for a while. And then there were like a handful of people who were like very upset about it, or like maybe not a handful, but like a lot of people weren't happy about it. But it was this interesting discussion, and then the AI thing is like you have these pod people who are willing to do anything for you, and they aren't really allowed to say no, right? Like the latest episode, Carol
They
was
don't want.
like,
They don't want to say no. They want to. They Yeah. Right. Yeah.
they're like programmed or whatever to give you whatever you want. And so Carol was like, well, what if I wanted an atom bomb? And the guy was like, well, we'd walk through it and go through the pros and cons. And if you really wanted it, like, yeah, you could get it. And that is kind of like AI, right? Like it's programmed to like be obsequious and do what you want, and not really try to talk you out of anything. And it also seemed like maybe like a satire of like the liberal gentle parenting style of like, I'm never going to tell you no, I'm just going to tell you, why this might be good, why it might be bad. Let's just walk through this together instead of
Yeah.
just like giving you a hard no on something. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, like I'm trying to figure out like what is this supposed to be? Yeah, like commentary on what's happening in the culture at large, and
Mhm.
then yeah, like the Carol character being this like yeah like hyper American, independent, like wanting to fix this problem that no one else even recognizes as one.
Yeah. Yeah, the AI one is good. I didn't think of COVID. I don't see it. You're not shut down.
Well, so you know, because it wasn't literally aliens who invaded, right? Like they sent a message, and then the scientists decoded it, and then you see this like sequence of scientists in a lab, like recreating it. They reference RNA, and then you see like this scene where they're like
RNA is the
literally like
vaccine. It's kind of opposite.
um but in the show though the way that the virus works it is like some
Yeah,
kind of an RNA thing that they recreated
right.
um
But that's not
and
COVID.
right
COVID,
it's not
it's
COVID
opposite. Yeah.
but like it does
It just
like
harkens to it.
like it reminds you of it and
Mhm.
then you know like they're spreading the virus through saliva you know it's like a contagious
Mhm.
uh
Well, it is a disease. That's true. I mean,
yeah
it is.
it's an
But
illness and then you
AI
see like them like programmed to like lick the donuts and like like they're swabbing their mouths with these q-tips like there was like this thing in the first episode where I thought like this does kind of and you see people in hazmat suits too so it is like a little bit reminds me of like the like a lab leak kind of situation.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe, but the AI one I think is stronger because it's like this thing that like understands much better than you. And you're right, it's training to be helpful. It has intelligence, but it's also alien,
Hmm.
right? And it kind of can do everything, right? It could just figure things out and just do stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah, because it has access to the world's knowledge, right? Like every individual, like it has access. So any individual person has access to the entire world's knowledge, and so there is no individuality anymore.
yeah.
But like, yeah, that is like how
It's
AI is
it's
trained, right?
weird.
It's like,
Like, are they like? Because like, it's weird because like you have these stuff happens where like all these people die sometimes, right? It's like, oh, Carol killed like 800
oh wait,
monkeys or
that
something.
was that's the other part that reminded me of COVID is like when she gets upset, um, you know, like suddenly all these people die. So like you know don't upset us. Like don't if you're too much of an individualistic person who does what you want, people die, and so you have to be like nice and follow the rules. And
Mhm.
that also reminded me of like the conversation during COVID too. It was like if you don't do these things, you're going to kill people. So you have to like you
Mhm.
know not be too
Yeah.
selfish or think about yourself
Why,
too
why,
much.
do, why do we care if people like are they still individuals? Like, why do we care if people die? Because they all seem like the same individual. So it's like, a bunch of people die when she shakes, but like each one of these people is just like part of a
Well,
brain
they're
that is
not that
all the same.
upset, right? Like they don't seem like that upset with her.
Yeah, they
Like
don't.
because they
But
said 11 million
why don't
people
they kill
died.
themselves? When she's like, "Oh my god, all these people are dying," why don't they be like, they're just part of the same brain. We're all the same thing. So like, who cares?
Well, maybe they
Maybe they
themselves
feel
don't feel
conscious.
that strongly about it, but they know that Carol would be upset, right? Because Carol, in her mind, like maybe
Yeah,
we can fix this problem and like bring these people back. And if like 11 million people die, they're never going to get their lives back.
yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah, I was thinking of also, it's like a parable. This is not timely, but it's like kind of a parable for capitalism. So when she goes to Sprouts and she's like,
Right.
I want my Sprouts back. I'm very independent minded.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
And they're like, okay, we're going to go stack the store for you. Right. So it's like that. Anyone who says they're independent, is kind of dependent on like, you have to go to the
Supply
store.
chains and
You
yeah,
have to buy things. You have to,
employees and
yeah,
yeah.
so it is kind of like it's capitalism, right? It's like people just are drones doing stuff for you because they're in their self interest. There's kind of like an automatic, it's like a kind of the way the market functions. Um, and so there's that, and then it does it like with a smile on its face and gives you what you want, even if what you want is like, heroin or something like that, which is kind of like the atom bomb thing, right? It's like capitalism it's just like this great service that makes you think you're independent and does everything for you. But at the same time, like kind of destroys you because it's too good at giving you what you want. Not it's not bad at it.
Too good at giving you what you want. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I did think about yeah, like Carol maybe veering too far into I can take care of myself. I don't need anyone. And then she goes into the Sprouts and realizes oh she needs like countless numbers of people to make this work. Um, yeah. So yeah, that is interesting. Yeah,
That's the thing,
commentary on that. I thought it was
they're
more
all
so like
women because
reminding people
the
that they're
fact
connected.
the fact that most of the people survive are women, as the ones that we've seen so far is interesting because it's like men, you would all of them would want to be like Kumba. Like I don't know why. There's only one other guy. He's like an older Asian man, so you would think maybe he wouldn't be
But then
that.
there's the guy you mentioned, Paraguay or whatever, the
Yeah, but
other Latin
he's
American
just so
guy.
freaked out. He refuses to talk to anyone. He doesn't want anything to do with this
Well, we
stuff.
don't know that, right? Like that's the other thing is so this is like a total wild guess. I have no
Mm,
idea, but one possibility for the show is going is initially you think like the pod people might be the enemy, and that's like kind of where she's like freaked out by what's happening here. What do they want from us? What is this? And then they just like keep reiterating like they're basically nice, like they're harmless. They'll just do what you want. Like they have an agenda, right? Like I think their aim is to like eventually capture Carol's mind as well.
yeah, they said
Um,
that. Yeah.
but in the meantime, they've been pretty chill to her. But I think the real adversaries, the antagonists, are going to be like the other normal people. They're going to try to stop Carol from solving the problem. Like maybe this guy in Paraguay has his own thing going on where he's like happy with having these pod people do his bidding, and when he discovers that Carol's trying to like save them, they're going to try to interfere with her and become her enemy.
Mm.
So
But
it's
that
not
doesn't
going to
make
be the
sense.
pod; it's going to be other normal people.
But that can't be right so far because she would Zoja, that woman, she would know that. They would all know it if he had captured some of the pod people and made them his slaves or something. Unless they're lying, which I don't think that they lie as far as
Oh,
we know so far.
interesting.
So they
Yeah.
would know that. They would know if he's using the pod people.
Yeah.
He might be like leading a guerrilla.
Well, what like how would the pod people would know, but would Carol know? Like Carol
Oh
didn't
no, but
know.
they would tell her, right? Unless they're lying, or maybe
Well, they
maybe
weren't
they don't.
telling her about Kumba.
Yeah,
Like
they
they
yeah,
weren't
they
like
don't give her
notifying her
full
about that.
information. No, no, but she says we've had trouble making contact. I think that Zoja says that, so she must be lying if that's something like that. If he has
Oh,
made
with
contact,
that. Oh, they've had trouble making it. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
it was
maybe.
something
Yeah.
like that. Now maybe that guy, because they just discovered it, maybe he's like with other humans, and they are all, they're all like maybe they're the bad guys or something. I don't know.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting. Okay, yeah,
maybe,
because we don't know if he's the only. Like, yeah, what Zosha told her was like, is that her name? The like
yeah.
Carol's assistant or whatever. Yeah, and so yeah, she said like there's like 5 people confirmed,
Mm.
but that doesn't mean there are
I
only
think
5
five who speak
people.
English. There's a handful of
Oh
others
yeah,
who,
yeah, English speakers, right?
yeah,
There are a lot of people or whatever, like some people who don't speak English, and yeah, so I think like yeah, that's going to be like interesting territory the show will explore is like Carol interacting with normal people and that them having completely different agenda from her. Like they're not going to want to help her fix this because like maybe they're happy or they're just freaked
yeah,
out or they think like they have like a religious interpretation of this and like think that Carol is trying to like stop God's will or
mm,
whatever. Maybe they love the aliens.
yeah.
So
Well, yeah, I mean, so the people are going like like the other ones want to become part of the pod people. Like, they think it's great. So I think that's the individuality thing. It's like it would happen to you. You would have all the knowledge, but you'd still be an individual, right? You'd still like feel stuff, but you would just like have all the knowledge, I guess. And you wouldn't really have autonomy, but you'd somehow still feel stuff, right? You'd be like a robot who could feel
yeah.
stuff and you could be happy. So that's why Zoja tells Carol, "Oh my God, it's so great, it's so great." So like, it must still feel. There must be subjective feeling. It must feel like to be something. Like if you stab someone or shoot them. I guess that's why we're going back to like, why do you care if people die? I guess they still have
They still can
individuality.
suffer, they can still feel pain.
Mhm.
And yeah, that is yeah, they brought this up in the show, like Kumba, like they were like, if you have sex with one of the pod people, like everyone is experiencing that simultaneously, and they're like, yeah, like like everyone, right? Like men, women, children, like they're all having that experience
No, but
together.
I thought that is that right? Because she tells her, I remember when she was drinking and she's like, does some like 5-year-old get drunk if you drink? And she says, no.
But
I don't
that's a
think they
physiological thing, right?
it's so
Like
sex, but I guess they know the sex. I mean, it doesn't mean they experience, they know sex happened, right? Um,
yeah, but they
but they,
don't
maybe they don't get they don't like start moaning like if sex
yeah, they're
happens.
not like feeling the physical stimulation of it, but like mentally they're aware that sex is occurring. Uh, and yeah, yeah, Kumba has like no concerns about this.
Yes, yeah, I like how he's like we can't kill animals. He's like, oh, I will kill it and I will bring it to you and you will cook it. They're like, he's like, okay.